like we're good to go with Curtis, so with that, we'll call our meeting to order. It's 6 o'clock. First up, we'll look for additions or deletions to the agenda, or we'll entertain a motion to approve it as presented.
Support.
Got motion support. Any additions or corrections? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, no. The motion is carried. Roll call. It is completed. All right. Next is Pledge of Allegiance. If everyone please rise and join us in the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you very much. And welcome, everyone. Next, we would entertain a motion to approve the August 27, 2024 regular meeting minutes of this body.
Motion approved.
Okay, we have a motion and support. Are there any comments or questions, corrections? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, no. And that motion is carried. Thank you. Moving down to hearings, we are to set a public hearing for Tuesday, September 24th, 2024 at 6 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the agenda will allow. And for that, we will consider an application for an obsolete property rehabilitation exemption application from Gemini Capital Management 9 LLC for the property at 311 East Superior Street.
Move to set hearing.
Support.
Have a motion and support. Are there any comments or questions? Any background from staff?
Just a note that the clerk made for you. We did establish the Oprah District back in March of '24. We've gone through the Zoning Board of Appeals for a couple of the apartments that are there, so they're all ready to bring their application and project to this board for the exemption certificate that will be sent to the state of Michigan.
Okay, good. Last chance for comments or questions. Hearing none, all those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, no. Motion is passed and we've set the hearing. Moving on to resolutions. We're to consider a resolution ratifying the investments for the following city funds. And before us tonight, we have 3 different investment amounts. Looks like it totals about $675,000, $650,000, somewhere in there, for Cedars, a CD, and a U.S. Treasury security. Your pleasure.
Motion approved. Support.
Got a motion support. Are there any comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, no. The motion is carried. Agreements. First, we are to consider a resolution to approve the renewal of the 1-year contract for transportation services between Elma Transit and Gratiot Integrated Health Network, and also to authorize the transit director, Brett Bublitz, to execute the contract. Excuse me.
Move approval.
Support.
Got a motion and support.
Just a little
Background?
just a little background. The contract, we used to have a 1 flat fee. A year ago, we went to as need. They called for rides, so we charged them for the ride that's being provided. So last year, just to give some numbers for the commission, last year we did a total of 10,338 rides and charged, they were billed out for those rides of $22,150.85. So our new contract, that's how that works, and that's last year's numbers. So that's the first year we've gone a full year through that. So we'll see how this next year goes.
Okay. Comments or questions? And if I remember, the change in the contract was driven by the fact that Slipper came into being, right?
Yes, that was.
So a number of their clients that we were supporting by contract now are within the actual district of the dial, right?
Yes, that's correct. And that does save Gratiot Integrated Health money too, to use toward other services that they provide, so.
But compensation is coming from those communities, so it makes it fair, so.
Yep, exactly. Yep.
Thank you. Okay, all those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, no. That motion is carried. Thank you. Number 2, we are to consider a resolution to approve a purchase agreement for the sale of property owned by the city of Elma adjacent to Adams Avenue. It is parcel number 29-51-032-256-10, which is more commonly known as the former Sugar Beet site, and the sale would be to A&T South Park 3 Limited for the sum of $70,000 and to authorize the mayor to sign on behalf of the city of Elma.
Move to approve.
Support.
We have a motion and support. Give some background.
we get motion support yet? Okay, okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all right.
Perfect, no, I just want to make sure, in your newsletter, I did provide some of the reasons why this is, why we've talked about this one and going down this path. One, Alma Industrial Development is looking to divest the property that they have, so they're working with, this company is owned by Avalon Pontoon. They approached them about selling their property. This property is adjacent to that, and it makes a lot of sense to keep these two parcels together, because many years ago, we did get this as part of the environmental cleanup and things that happened with it was called DEQ at the time. The city took the part of the parcel to Adams, which wasn't there at the time, and then AIDA had the property off of Court Avenue. What was beneficial to the city also is keeping these together is both these parcels have the same kind of environmental issues. So working with Avalon, I think they have, and I agree that they have a better wherewithal to try to remediate these and reuse this property in a positive way for the community. From a standpoint of everyday maintenance, right now we're mowing property along Adams Street and Neely Street that abut this property. We would begin to receive tax dollars off of that parcel, which is currently under our ownership, so there's no taxes that are on that. If anybody's drove by there, there's these large mounds there. That is a formal byproduct of a line that was there for the sugar beets. So the possibility of selling something else coming in, because it's been for sale for a long time. If someone came in and said, hey, we're going to do this, we would definitely work with them. But again, working with the proposal, I think we have a really good opportunity to redevelop that property. And then also, we've talked a lot about where our energies need to go for industrial development, and we have all the property off east of Jerome and on Hoffman Road. Really, that's where we're getting a lot of the attention at the state level for other possible industrial development. So we should probably focus our energies on that parcel there as opposed to this here. And then, of course, having that 70,000 come into the community, we can turn around and put that into a capital project that will benefit the community right away in one of the parks or something like that. So it's not just something that we're mowing all the time. So, and then, of course, Avalon's been a great community partner through a lot of different things with what they've been able to do, and I think this would be a positive here again.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Any comments or questions? We have discussed this a bit in the past, so with that, all those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, no. Motion is carried. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thanks for your contribution.
All right. That's a very positive development, I think, for our community.
It really is.
Next, reports of officers, boards, and committees. The city commission may receive the following reports by one resolution, or any commissioner may remove any item within the section for individual discussion and vote. Before us this evening, we have the Parks Committee, August 26, 2024, draft meeting minutes. The Downtown Development Authority, August 28, 2024, draft meeting minutes. The Alma Transit, August 2024 report. The Alma Police Department, August 2024 report. The August 2024 Building Permits report. And the Finance, August 2024 report. And last but not least, the City Manager's report. So your pleasure on the receipt of these reports.
Move to receive 1 through 6.
Support.
Okay, we have motion support. Any comments or questions?
Yes, I have a question that only comes under this heading, but only slightly. I'm under Parks or Downtown Development. Is the social district in effect?
No, it is not.
It is not. Okay.
So I am working right now to finalize the enforcement,
Okay.
I can say signage and the maintenance plan, and that'll come back to this board, and then you'll have to do a final resolution.
Okay,
Then that
good.
gets sent.
I knew we did some stuff on it, and somebody asked me if it was in effect, and I
It's
did not know the answer. Okay,
And then
thank
once it
you.
does go into effect, Roger, it's still each individual license holder, if they want to be a part of the district.
Absolutely.
There's paperwork they need to fill out for the state, and then there's a resolution that it has to be approved at this board. It goes with their paperwork
Okay,
as well.
perfect.
So,
Good, thank you.
Next summer, probably. That's what I'm hearing. Okay, any more questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, no. That motion is carried. We've received those 6 items. Your pleasure on item 7.
Move to receive 7.
Support.
We have motion support. Eric, get her away.
Just a real small one tonight. First off, I just want to say congratulations to our assessing department, Kathleen Roseland and Hannah Post. We received notification from the state of Michigan on the assessment audit. Received a perfect score on that. Did provide that in your newsletter. And just as a side note, it's under PA 660, and the audit really is looking at compliance with the statutory requirements, that's all taxation is statutory requirements, but also on our side, proper documentation, the record keeping, and the effectiveness of the internal controls that they're looking at too. So that's very good news, not just for us, but our partner, St. Louis, because they work with us on assessing as well. And people can feel reassured that the things that we're doing here meet the standards of the state of Michigan on their tax assessments. So congratulations there. I know Kathy and Hannah have worked very hard to make that happen.
I like these perfect score audits. We'll keep that coming.
It was nice to see, and it's right there. It's in writing from the state, so it's on letterhead. They can't take
And
that
not
away.
surprising either.
Yeah.
We've got a great department there. There's no doubt.
And just, I wanted to give an update. It's been just actually a little over a year. Gemstone Development, the city, after that went bankrupt back in 2008. The city ended up with 25 of those lots of the 41 lots that were down there. Just for COVID, we really, the commission decided to lower the price on those, and that has helped tremendously. Of those 25 lots that are available, only 5 remain to be built on. All 20 others have brand new homes on them. So that's been successful, and we hope to the last 5 go sooner than later. But on top of that, there's another 10 lots that are for sale that are not owned by the city that's still available down there. Healthy Pine River meeting, they reached out and invited the commission directly. Myself and the Public Service Director, David Ringel, will do some of the agenda. I'll be talking about the history of what Iron Metal was there before, the old warehouse, those sorts of things, and Dave's going to talk a little bit about the dam maintenance and things the costs that come along with maintaining a dam. The public is welcome to join us as a public meeting. But the invitation that we did get, we did meet with Chuck Standro earlier this week. They have moved it from Pine River Park to the library. And the same time, 6 o'clock, still doing the cookout at 6, meeting starts at 7. But with the sun going down sooner than past, they felt it was better to move it to the library. So
It's Thursday, correct?
it is this Thursday, yep. So if you're able to make it, just give me a thumbs up before you leave tonight. That way we can get them a number for the food. And we've already talked about our the Sugar Beet property sale, which I think is a very good thing for us, and you can see some movement over there, some development, some tax revenue, and hopefully we always hope for more jobs. So that is all I had tonight for.
Okay. Who has the first question for Eric? Okay, hearing none, I believe we have a motion on the table, so all those in favor of receipt of the report, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, no. Motion is carried. We've received the report. Thank you, Eric. Appreciate that. Moving on to new business. Consider a resolution to reschedule the city commission meeting normally scheduled for the second Tuesday in December, which is December 24th, 2024, to an alternate date, as December 2024 is Christmas Eve. Oh, okay. And municipal offices will be closed. Apparently, staff does not want to work.
I'll be here if you guys want to be here.
Don't understand. Can't imagine on Christmas Eve, we don't want to spend it together.
The second Tuesday in December cannot be December 24th. It'll be our second meeting in
The second meeting, yeah. that's right.
Yes.
the fourth
Fourth
Tuesday in December.
So Monday would be
catch, thank you.
23rd, and the following Thursday after would be
Yes.
26th, so it would be your choice.
So is there somebody recommending a date?
Could it be the 17th of December?
It can be whatever you make a motion
That's
for if
2
we
weeks
vote on
back,
it.
or Monday the 23rd.
That might be a lawful close.
Yeah, I don't
might-
want-
I guess
don't want
it's up to you
Monday,
guys.
23rd.
My plans are currently not to leave town, so
I move we move it to the 17th of December.
Second. Or-
okay. We have motion support. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed say no. Motion is carried. We've moved our meeting then. So thank you. 2 in a row. Yep. Next, report concerning the establishment of a special assessment district number 2024-1, 2024-2, 2024-3, 2024-4, 2024-5, and 2024-6 for construction of sanitary sewer leads on Pine, Charles, Richmond, Moyer, Austin, South River, and Rosedale, respectively, in conjunction with the SRF Sanitary Sewer Improvement Project.
Move to receive.
Support. Okay, we have motion support. Dave, it looks like you're taking the lead here.
Yep. I apologize. It'll be a long SAD meeting, initial hearing, just because there's so many streets, but I'm pleasantly surprised and happy to announce that there's so many of them to do, so very thankful for that. Just a correction, it's not SRF sanitary sewer improvement. This is in conjunction with our street improvement projects for both Pine Avenue as well as the rest of the neighborhood street projects. So I don't know exactly the order that they're all going to happen in. I have a pretty good idea, but we're going to do them all at once. So tonight's hearing is just to set the public hearing, which we're projected to be October 8th. So if any of the commissioners have any questions during this, feel free to interject. Just go through these, and as questions come up, let me know. Our first one is for Pine Avenue between Washington and Warwick Drive. This is for sanitary sewer replacement as well as projected laterals. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we did have a couple people come in after the meeting started, and we do have a couple of updated packages of the information that's being presented. If anybody's here for that, it came in late and wants an updated paper copy. Sorry about that.
No, that's fine. I told you to interrupt me, so. That's fine. Just one thing I want to mention, Pine Avenue, there's been a couple corrections just since this packet has come out. They will be corrected for the next one. Commissioners will have a revised one. There's a change for the replacement cost per lineal foot because the sanitary Ys are part of that cost, and we'll see that when we continue. If anybody's not familiar, this is just a general statement for all the streets that I'm going to talk about. And I see there's a few residents from some of the streets that we're talking about. If anybody's not familiar with it, what we do, the city does as a part of the street replacement program, we replace the sanitary sewers as a part of the street reconstructions. So the city replaces the main as well as the laterals, unless it's SDR 26 plastic, which means nothing to most people in this room, but basically the residential standard for plastic, kind of a heavier plastic. And the reason I say that is because in history, we found very thin wall plastic that doesn't hold up. You can look at it and it breaks. We don't want to keep that in there. So I always put that caveat in there. If it's plastic, you won't get a bill. If we replace the main and there's plastic coming up to it, we just reconnect it and move along our way. There's no fee that goes along with it. If it is anything other than that plastic that I described, the city will replace it from just outside of the curb line to the city main. Property owner will pay for half the cost, the city pays for the other half. And if anybody in this room's ever replaced a sanitary sewer lateral, you'll see the prices. It's probably the best deal you're ever going to see on replacement simply because of the bulk of it. The property owners will only pay for the amount of footage that's been placed. So if it's 18 feet, you pay for 18 feet. We keep notes during the project. If we go 6 feet and we find plastic, we'll just stop and connect it there, and each property owner gets billed for exactly what we replace.
And so Dave, forgive me again, but when you use the term lateral, we've got the main that goes on there. The lateral is the portion you talk about that would go off of the main towards the city or towards the homeowner's property.
Correct. That's absolutely correct.
Up to the demarcation point.
Yep, up to just outside of the curb line. Sometimes we'll go to the property line. It just depends on how wide the right-of-way is. But we try to get it out of that street influence line because if it's ever replaced in the future, we don't want the road dug up. So we don't want to have, there's nothing worse than having a brand new road within a couple of years, 5 years old, and then having a slice in it. That rapidly deteriorates the road life, makes everybody unhappy, and then there's speed bumps and nobody wants, and I'll get into that. So the other thing is also, it helps with the I&I in the city of Alma, helps with clear water getting into the sanitary sewer, creates more root-tight connections and water-tight connections.
And one more thing, if I could add it to, just for a little information, it also costs you more if you have to dig up the street. And the newer the street is, the higher the price.
Correct.
So it's definitely in everybody's best interest to get this done correctly the first
To
time.
add on to what the mayor said, it doesn't cost enough to cut into a brand new street. I'll tell you that because of the frustration. You don't want to hear me digress. So We'll go right into it. You're going to notice, and I'm going to point out what I can tell is going to be the differences in these, just to give you a heads up. Prices on all these are not going to be the same throughout all of these street projects. So if you see the prices different, one of the caveats is they're different contractors. Pine Avenue is a different contractor than the rest of the streets. So those are different unit costs that they bid on. And the way the spec was written for Pine Avenue, because it's an MDOT spec, the Ys are a part of the sanitary sewer pipe. So that's why you see a 0, but that cost is built into the price per foot. So you're going to see a cost for Ys later on throughout the next slides. It's not a typo, it's just how they're bid. So in the state of Michigan, I don't really have a say in how that's bid. I have to follow MDOT specs. So you'll notice that. So you'll see some price differences, and then on way through the rest of the streets, there are a couple streets where there are different costs with the same contractor. The reasons that I projected that to be is based on soil conditions or based on where they look to make profit or save money, spend more money. That's the price that they gave us. And for everyone's benefit, we put this out for bid. Whoever the lowest bid is gets the job. So both cases with Pine Avenue and then with the rest of the street projects. So we'll start right into Pine Avenue. This is what the bid costs were for the Ys, the 6-inch service pipe, and sanitary clean out. If we go behind the street line, the curb line, we're going to put a clean out there. If it was not plastic, that's just a line of demarcation. That'll show where the new pipe is and the old pipe. And if you ever replace it in the future on your side, you can replace it right up to there and not go into the street. Okay, what we've done is you're going to notice a lot of different prices, and I put every single address that could conceivably connect to the sanitary sewer. We put that on there because once we set the special assessment district, we cannot add anyone else to it. We can always take away, but I can't add to it. So we put every address on there, and I try to look at a realistic, yet worst case scenario. So you're going to see some sticker shock when you look down in there for some of the prices. There's 2 addresses in particular that stand out to me. Those ones are for the duplexes. One is at the southwest corner of Pine and Warwick. There's several condominium complexes there. I don't know how many sanitary sewer laterals there are, so I project there's at least 4 to 8 each. Like I said, I can always take away. So if reality says there's nothing, they don't get a bill. If there's 2, they pay for whatever's replaced. And the other ones are for Warwick Living Center, those condominium houses there as well, projected 4 laterals there, so you can see some extra costs. So it's the price per lineal foot per clean out times 4. So I'd rather err a little bit on the side of caution to where the price estimate is higher, reality is lower, it's a little easier. Sometimes though it does work the opposite way. Sometimes the reality and the exact number is more money than the estimate. Try not to do that if at all possible. So those are the
Let me
reasons.
interrupt you for a second.
Go ahead.
I'm trying to remember back to when my street was completed. I didn't pay that all at once. It's over a period of time, correct?
You can.
You can pay, but you have an option to pay like over time,
Yeah,
correct?
We would set that option later.
Yeah, but I was trying to remember.
Yep.
Correct. Yep, the city commission has that option to decide on how long the duration of payment
Okay.
is. So, thank you. You'll also notice the footages are different. There's actually 2 different sanitary sewers on Pine Avenue. One is in close to the middle of the road. As you go to the north, there's one on the east side that's within that east terrace, kind of underneath the sidewalk. So that's why you see the distant differences in the estimated footages. So if there's any questions on Pine
So
Avenue.
there's 2 sewer lines running under the street
2
currently.
separate ones. You get up to the north third of what we're reconstructing, it actually stops and heads to the east, and then you go about 50 feet to the north, there's another one that comes from the north and then goes east cross country. So one is...
They're not running side by side parallel to one another?
No, they're not. No, we're not putting dual
Okay.
sanitaries, and thanks for the
I'm
correction.
very curious about that.
Thank you. No, 2 separate ones. One, if you go to the north, it's on the east side, and then it stops, there's a dead part, and then it goes 50 feet, it goes in the center. So that's why you see the differences in the estimated footages. Hearing none, I'll just move right along. Okay, next is Iowa Street. This is from the rail trail to, excuse me, not Iowa Street, I'm sorry, Charles, from Iowa Street to the rail trail. The sanitary sewer on this street is in the west terrace. Probably, it's about right under the sidewalk, and you can see if you walk, you'll see the manholes in there. We're going to replace it as is. The reason why we're replacing this section is it's undersized. The apartments to the north, and those were constructed, there's a lift station here. Anybody that's been around as long as I have now probably knows that, but it's undersized. When we did the Iowa Street reconstruction, we actually increased the size of that sanitary sewer to take that flow, and this also creates that connection point for the larger size that's needed. So that's why just this particular portion is being looked at to be replaced. To the south, that sewer was put in the mid-60s. It's in good shape. It is also in the terrace, so to save money, that's not a part of this SAD. Here you can see the price differences that I talked about. There's a price per Y for 6-inch pipe per foot and for the sanitary cleanouts. Same things I talked about. If there's plastic existing, we just reconnect it. If it's clay, cast iron, anything other than plastic, I'm going to tell you because I've seen a lot of things, then you just pay the distance that we replace.
So we're putting in an 8-inch main?
No, this will be a 12-inch. We're replacing an 8-inch.
We're replacing an 8 and current 12, okay.
Good question. We'll scroll on to here. These are the addresses we projected to be affected by and the costs for each. You'll notice that there's substantially less footages on those because, as I mentioned, that sanitary is in the terrace right now. Okay, this is for Richmond Street. Just to save time, and you don't want to hear any more than you need to or want to, I'd rather turn. Same thing, here's the cost per Y per lineal foot. And here's the addresses that we list. As I mentioned, anybody that can conceivably connect to it that we can foresee is added to that. We can always remove later on after the project's completed. Moyer Avenue, same thing applies. Just try to kind of skim through here. If anybody lives on any of these streets, has specific questions, feel free to ask me or anything. Same thing here. The prices, you'll notice, are still the same as what they were before, but there are, oh, hang on here, I apologize, that thing is very sensitive. Okay, Moyer, I want to make sure I go back and don't miss anything. Here's everything that's listed on Moyer Street, so as I mentioned, if anybody lives on these or has specific questions, please feel free to go ahead and ask away. Austin South River Street. This street has sanitary on a portion. It does not have it on the entire thing, but we are going to replace in kind what is there, as well as Austin Street's kind of an interesting street. There's not a water main, there's water services that run around a few houses. Many of those lots don't have water, some don't have sanitary. The sanitary that is there is in extremely poor shape. We found that out during our sanitary SRF investigation, if anybody remembers back a number of years ago. So, same thing here. We've got the prices per foot. And these are all the conceivable addresses that could be a part of that street.
I have a question. In everything you're showing us, this is just the sewer side, not the water side?
Correct. This is just sanitary sewer. That's all this SAD entails. Nothing for water.
Okay.
There is no SAD for water, just for sanitary.
Okay.
Good question.
So I have a question as
Yes.
well. Was Grafton Avenue, was that taken into consideration, any of this, or has the sewer already been replaced for that street?
Lots of streets were taken into consideration. In fact, I'm going to give you the shortest answer I can. To come up with this list of streets for the street millage, if you remember a few years ago it was voted on, take into account a number of different factors for streets. I'd love to do a number of them. Grafton's one of them. Street condition depends on the segment. There is some questionable sanitary in that area. It's like anything, you only have so much money. So what we do is compile data based on the road rating, as far as 1 through 10 PASER ratings. We look at the amount of utility breaks, the availability of existing utilities, the age of the infrastructure, the criticality of it, if there's main breaks or sanitaries. We look at sanitary breaks and water breaks, take all that information, we come up with a list, and then propose it to the city commission. Part of also is what is taken into consideration is the region of town. We try to get all the different regions of town in that 6-year plan. So
Sure, okay.
just because it's not in this doesn't mean at some point, 5 to 10 years, it may be.
Sure, okay, thank you.
Yes.
And maybe a follow-on question. So if I heard you correctly, if we are living on this stretch of road and our sanitary sewer does not connect on Austin or River, then like you said, this is kind of like a worst case scenario. And in that case, then we wouldn't see any differences in our sewer construction, or we wouldn't see any replacements or anything like that.
Correct. No cost, no replacement.
Okay. So then this is really, I'm sorry, another follow-up question. And this is a part of the road?
Millage.
Road millage?
Yes.
Okay. When, was that passed, what, 2 years ago?
2 years
now?
ago.
Okay, fair enough.
And the reason for the delay is we've looked at doing this SRF program. If you've read the paper, heard us talking about that. We applied for state of Michigan funding through the federal government, but that, if you remember the infrastructure money that was passed, some of it went out, each state got it differently and allocated it differently. So this is part of that. We applied for it. We were successful in getting that money, so it drastically reduced the cost of this to the property owners as far as the water main. We've got low interest loans on that as well as grant forgiveness. So half of whatever we spend is free. So that helps us dramatically, and it definitely helped with the street project, set of street projects to do water replacements, and it puts us in a very good position in the next 5 to 10 years to do more replacements. Also, part of your rate increases were a part of that, so anytime you ever look at your water sewer bill and you look at your taxes, some of that money goes towards a street replacement. Your water bill and sewer bill directly go to this.
Thank you. Another follow-on question for you, if you don't mind.
Yeah, that's fine.
So with these new sewer leads and with all this work that's being done, should we see a reflection in either our, well, maybe not so much our taxes, but at least in our monthly bills? Would we see a decrease because now everything's more efficient?
No. Your sewer bill is directly related to how much water you use. That's how your water bill works. So the only you wouldn't see anything, because like if I use the example of a water leak, you wouldn't know that, because you only get charged for what goes through your meter, and that's in your house. So there's no reduction in your services, or excuse me, in your utility rates or anything of that nature. Nor is there an increase in your taxes as a part of this. So other than this SAD, if there's sanitary sewer to replace, then you'll get a letter that says, we're going to invite you to another meeting like this. Actually, it'll be like the one in October. We're going to invite you to it, and I'm going to do the same thing, only I'm going to give you exact numbers on replacements, and then that's where the city commission will decide what interest rate and for how long they're going to give residents to pay that.
And last follow-up question, hopefully.
Go ahead. You aren't the only one. I can guarantee you there's a number of people that were here that have these. So.
Well, thank you. So then, with all these services being done with the sewage, specifically for Austin and South River, what, I guess, for the road improvements, what does this really have to do with, like, widening the road? And I guess maybe a two-parter. Is there a thought to, like, add sidewalks or, like, curbs now to this specific stretch of roads?
Yep, there's no sidewalks that are proposed on any of these streets. The road is going to be wider because, especially Austin and South River, that road is what I call and what were known as seal coat roads. Probably started its life out as a gravel road and has had several layers of seal coat put over it. So it's not conducive to two-way, you can drive two-way traffic on it, but when we replace streets, we replace them to what we call the city standards, a 29 feet back-to-back. That allows for two-way traffic to pass back and forth, along with parking on one side. And that is a standard on a low-density, low-volume residential street.
So do you know how wide Austin and South River are going to have to, I guess, be made?
Dave, wouldn't that be the same as Slater Street?
Yes, correct.
Do you know where Slater Street is?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I live on Slater Street, and they did this 3-4 years ago.
About 7 years ago
Okay,
now.
7 years. Feels like 3 years ago. And my road was the same as like, so it's 3 blocks south of Hillcrest School. And you can drive down our road and you can see how it is. It just shows you.
Yeah, let's say thank you for.
Yeah, it's exactly 3 blocks, and you just turn left after Hillcrest School into Slater Street, and then you can see the width of it. So you can see what it will look like when it's finished.
And would that cut equally into both sides of the road, or would we like lose 5 feet on ours?
Because that's a gravel seal coat road, I can give you generalities. I can't give you exact because it kind of meanders.
Because there's raised berms on both sides, so, and like paved driveways all the way up to the road. So our concerns really are what we're losing and how our driveway is going to be affected?
Yep. Some of these questions I'll address during the residents meeting, because I'm going to invite you to that, and you're going to see the drawings and see what we're proposing, but I have no problem explaining it. So more specifics on the construction, I can get into that at that neighborhood residential meeting. We'll likely have that this fall, maybe early winter. I'm having some pre-con meetings actually this week. My week is full of meetings, so I need to have a lot of information before I talk to the residents as far as when they're anticipating starting, all of that good stuff, what you can expect to see, contacts, who's going to be out there, that type of thing. But your drive approach, right up to the property line, and that doesn't really mean anything to you until we're out there. You'll see some stakes, that type of thing. But everything within the right-of-way, the city's property, that will be a concrete drive approach, regardless of what you have right now. If it's asphalt, if it's gravel, if it's dirt, it's going to be gravel. In fact, there's some people there, they're talking about building. If they show us where they want the driveway, I can put the driveway in there for them. I'd rather do it now before it gets hacked up later on or anything like that. So, does that kind of explain your question?
Yeah.
And if you want to widen your driveway out, go to that residence meeting that we're going to have. That's the time we like to talk about that stuff, because as I mentioned, it's the best deal in town. If you want to widen your driveway out, you can look at doing that. You just have to pay the cost difference. So,
I did that with mine last year. I had a one car and I increased the upper part of the driveway to 2 and had gravel and stuff up there. And I said, can I get this stretched out to 2 at the street? And he said, yep. And sent me a bill for, I don't know, not much.
Unfortunately, it's around Christmas time. Don't do that on purpose. Anything though particular on sanitary?
I do have another question. You were, actually two, I'm gonna have a follow-up too. You were talking about the water meter and it directly affects the sewer. My daughter lives at 228. She has a well. She's paying for something that she's not using the city water. And this is gonna affect her property greatly. So I'm curious how that works.
If she, I'll let you go ahead. I'm sorry, I just wanted to know.
Well, my follow-up question to that, it's a totally another question. You have 2 places there that say South River Avenue that are no addresses. And those are for?
If those are vacant parcels, I've added those on there because if it's a vacant parcel, it can conceivably in the future at some point be buildable, whether or not it is. We put a sanitary sewer lateral in there and a clean out, so if anything is ever constructed in there, they can connect to that lateral without cutting into the road.
So the person that owns that property is going to have to pay for several of these, is that correct?
Yes, they're separate. If there isn't one there, and there is one in the future, correct. To answer the question on the sanitary sewer bill, if they have a well right now, they're not getting a water bill. So if they have a well, they're not paying for any water service. And they won't in the future until they ever do connect to city water.
But you said that how much water they use directly affects their sewer.
If you get a sewer bill, correct.
Okay.
But she, assuming your daughter, you said, sorry. If they have a well right now, they're not paying a water bill. And if they have a septic tank or anything like that, they're not paying sewer bill until such time as they connect, then they get billed for that. Part of this service is there'll be a water main in case there's any type of problems with the well, they'll have access to a water main to connect to. Currently, if the well goes bad, they don't have an option to replace the well. There's no grandfathering in, unfortunately. That's not my rules, that's the state of Michigan, and it's also an agreement we made with Total Refinery. So there has to be a water main to connect to, and because of this SRF loan, there's no cost for that water main. And nor would there be in the future, but if that day ever comes, they connect to it, they will have access to water. Anything else related?
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Like I said, there's going to be residents meeting, they're really invited to that too. I'll probably separate those into 2 different hearings just because of the amount of people that could be there, so separating it into the streets. Sanitary construction for the sanitary sewer replacements on Rosedale. Same thing we've talked about. This is just another street, so if there's anybody from Rosedale, anybody has any specific questions regarding that? And you can see there's a cost difference from what you've seen before. So that price changed from the 6-inch sanitary service lines. And these are all the addresses that we forecast that could be connected to that currently. And that's the end of the SAD presentation. If there's any more questions or any more...
Okay, anybody else have questions or comments? All right, I believe we have a motion on the table to receive the report. So all those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, no. Motion is carried. Thank you. Okay. Next, we are to consider a resolution to set a public hearing for Tuesday, October 8th, 2024 at 6 p.m. or soon thereafter as the agenda allows, for the purpose of reviewing special assessment districts number 2024-1 for the Pine Avenue Sanitary Sewer Leads construction project.
Move to approve. Support.
Motion support, comments, questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, no. Motion is carried and the hearing is set. Next, consideration of a resolution to set a public hearing for Tuesday, October 8, 2024 at 6 p.m. or soon thereafter as the agenda allows for the purpose of reviewing special assessment districts 2024-2. This is for the Charles Avenue Sanitary Sewer Leads construction project.
Move to approve.
Support. Motion support. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, no. That motion is carried. C, consideration of a resolution to set a public hearing for Tuesday, October 8, 2024 at 6 p.m. or soon thereafter as the agenda allows for the purpose of reviewing special assessment districts 2024-3 for the Richmond Street Sanitary Sewer Leads construction project.
Move to approve.
Support. Got a motion and support. All those in favor, comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, no. The motion is carried. Next, consideration of a resolution to set a public hearing for Tuesday, October 8, 2024 at 6 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the agenda allows for the purpose of reviewing special assessment districts 2024-4, which is for the Moyer Avenue Sanitary Sewer Leads construction project.
Move to approve.
We have a motion and support. Are there any comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, no. That motion is carried. Moving down to E, consideration of a resolution to set a public hearing for Tuesday, October 8, 2024 at 6 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the agenda allows for the purpose of reviewing special assessment districts 2024-5. This is for the Austin South River Sanitary Sewer Leads construction project.
Move approval.
Support. A motion support. Are there any comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, no. That motion is carried. And last but not least, consideration of a resolution to set a public hearing for Tuesday, October 8, 2024 at 6 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the agenda allows for the purpose of reviewing special assessment districts 2024-6 for the Rosedale Street Sanitary Sewer Leads construction project. Support. Motion support. Are there any comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, no. The motion is carried. I think we're going to make it through that. Appropriations. Is there any interest in paying bills tonight?
Move to pay the appropriations.
Support. Okay, we have motion support. Are there any comments or questions on the list of appropriations presented? Hearing none, all those in favor please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, no. The motion is carried and bills are paid. Go for it, Curtis. Thank you. Commissioner comments and reports. Guess we'll start with the commissioner comments. Roxanne, would you like to lead off tonight?
Congratulations to, oh my gosh, I just forgot.
Kathy.
Kathy, there we go.
Kathy and crew, yes.
Yes, thank you, yes, and that's all.
Echo that, and thanks Dave for the thoroughness. I think, having the ability to answer a lot of these off-the-wall questions is pretty special. Thank you for that, so.
Roger?
My thanks to both of those parties as well. Good job. Lucky McDuck was this past Saturday. It was less well attended than we had hoped, probably because it was 28 below zero with the wind chill out there. It was cold. But everything went well. It was a really great day, and we had an awful lot of fun. But the money will be down, so there will be fewer opportunities possibly for grants this year. We had 1,000 ducks in the water, and we're usually in the vicinity of 1,200. So a little bit slower on that. On a personal note, as of 2 weeks ago, that was my last week as the director of Community Cafe. Carleen Lyon has taken over that position, and this will be my 4th retirement at this point. So.
You got this.
I am, yeah. I've learned how to do it. 33 years with Community Cafe, so.
Hey,
That's it.
Hey, Lori.
Congratulations, Roger, and all those years of great service for the Community Cafe, and same ditto, McDuck and the gals done a great job.
Thank you. Michelle.
Happy homecoming week next week to the Young Panthers. It's fall already, the 25th. 20th, I think it is. And I will not be at the commission meeting on the 24th. I'll be out of town.
Yeah, congratulations to Kathy and team, and also thank you to Dave. I thought that was a fantastic presentation. Answered a lot of questions I had too, so thank you.
Sarah.
I'm all set. Thank you.
Eric?
All set.
Okay. For my part, I would like to echo the congratulations to Kathy and her team. No surprise on that. She has long been an outstanding assessor in the state of Michigan, been recognized numerous times for numerous things. The team does a great job, and no surprise that she got a perfect audit. That's just great news. Congratulations, Roger, on your current retirement, I guess it is. And thank you for all the service you've done, not only in the cafe, but the numerous organizations you've helped out continuously throughout your life. So it's been great to witness that. Thank you, Dave, for the presentation, and everybody coming for the information. Hopefully you got the information they needed tonight. And I know it's not great to get a bill for a couple $1,000s or more for, say, sewer leads or whatever we're doing, but as Dave said, it is a bargain compared to doing it on your own if you have to do it in an emergency situation. So, you know, that's pay me now, pay me later, I guess, situation. So
you can't imagine the difference to your block when there's a new street in here and all that kind of thing. And, you know, it's just...
Oh, yeah.
It just changes the nature of your residents terrifically.
And they can reach out to us. If you didn't want to ask a question tonight, please reach out. We could set up a meeting with you to sit down with you too, so.
Individually,
yeah.
And as Michelle pointed out earlier, typically we do set a 5-year timetable or so, 5 or 6 years after we've done in the past, to allow people to pay it off over time rather than having to come up with all funds at once.
I think it's the financial side of things that is the upset. There are a lot of questions. My daughter came home on June 10th, and her trees were gone. No notice. She'd only bought the house a year ago, and this is when we learned about everything.
Okay.
Are we upset?
This is not the appropriate time.
We are, but I want you to understand, it's not just
There is a
financial.
time for community comments at the end of the meeting, and we're at that point right now. So if you would like to address the commission, please go to the podium, state your name and address, and you have up to 5 minutes to share your thoughts with the commission.
First, don't you?
No, I'll go first. That's okay. My name is Barb Pender. I've lived in Alma my entire life. I've never been to a meeting like this and or felt the way that I currently feel. I have this big long speech which a lot of the questions or statements that I've written down have changed in my mind for what has been discussed today. But my biggest complaint is I own 10 city lots, which follow 517 East Marshall all along East River. As my childhood home, I've owned both properties up until a year ago. And the biggest thing is just as she was about to say is they came in and cut down the trees, no notice, no conversation. I've since had a conversation with Eric, which is nice to meet you, put a name with a face. I apologize for my level of anger. And then, of course, Mr. Dave, we've had plenty of conversations. But even up until yesterday, there was a gentleman that identified himself as part of the engineering team from the city of Alma that was there to remove another tree. So as we had this discussion, as they were about to cut down one of the most beautiful, huge black walnut trees on my property, which by the time they're done, they will take 5 trees. All of my trees will be removed from South River Road, period. I am the one that is enduring the biggest cost of this because I own the lots, as well as you are removing my property, trees that we planted when I was a small child. And as I look at you, Mr. Mapes, I was your Daisy group leader for your daughter. Your parents, I had an active role in caring for them through the years, and I cannot believe that your parents, if they were here today, being the pillars of the community that they were, that they wouldn't be angry, as I am, as any of you would be, to take 5 of your mature trees from your property to make this happen. I understand they need water and sewer. I understand that better than anyone, but why am I taking the greatest hit for this? Why is my property being affected more so than anyone else's? And why am I enduring the largest cost of this when I've said this from the beginning? I am not going to sell. I own all of those lots. So those vacant lots on River Street that I'm going to have to pay, how is that even right? How do you feel good about that?
Okay, thank you. Would you like to address the question as well?
Absolutely, please.
Please go to the podium, state your name and address, and you have up to 5 minutes.
My name is Katie Hartzell. I'm actually here to represent my daughter. She lives at 228 South River Avenue. She bought the house a year ago. As Barb stated, that both those houses were hers growing up. My daughter bought that house 50 years ago. We spent time there. We planted trees there. We did all kinds of stuff there. It's very emotional for us. My daughter, and I don't know how many of you have children and would do anything to protect your children. My daughter called me on June 10th in absolute terror and tears. My 2 pine trees are gone, Mom. I go, what do you mean they're gone? She's like, they're gone. There's no wood, there's no nothing, there's stumps in my front yard where my trees were. She bought the house in 2023 from Barb because it was Barb's childhood home and we're best friends for the last 50 years. I think the city owes my daughter an apology. There's nothing that can be done at this point. The trees are gone. She feels violated. How would she know? I got the answers when I said, I heard the millage was passed 2 years ago. Okay, she didn't own it 2 years ago. How would she know? Well, it's on Facebook, it's here, it's there. She's 27 years old. She's a first home. She doesn't understand how all this works. But I'm sure every single person in this room would feel the same way my daughter felt if they came home to their front yard, pulled in their driveway, and their trees were just missing. No notification, no anything. Now, they already have to deal with a lot living over by Hillcrest. It was different growing up there for us. We walked to school. Now everybody picks their kids up. My daughter cannot get into her driveway. My daughter cannot get out of her driveway during the school season. And when I asked how this is going to make that better, it's not. Because widening the road and putting a curb in there is going to make it more convenient for parents to park over there and block the driveways and the houses. But I'm told, flippantly, well, it's a public street, there's not anything we can do. Okay, so now, Barb's right, 5 trees. And not only that, she's gonna have to pay for 3 of those sewer inputs.
With no one living there.
And nobody's living there, it's just property, right? The people that live on South Austin, or Austin and South River Avenue, don't want curbs. They don't want a wider road. If you need to fix the sewer, that's great. It's a very quaint, quiet little place in the city. It's very country-like. And what you're doing is you're coming in and you're telling us that we have to do something we don't want to do. And the fact that you didn't tell anybody, the fact that you came to my daughter's property and virtually raped her property of those trees is wrong. And what I hear from everybody is, well, we're in the city, we can do it. We own this much, we can do what we want. Just because you can do something doesn't mean that you should. I grew up in this town. I've been a part of it most of my life, and that's how I was raised and what I learned. Just because you can do it doesn't mean you should. And again, as I leave, I sincerely believe that you owe my son-in-law and my daughter an apology. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Would anybody else like to address the commission tonight?
Hi, my name is Mark Prout, and I live on Iowa Street. And Iowa Street was redone last summer, and it really makes a difference in the neighborhood. It's a beautiful job, and I appreciate that. Excuse me, my throat. But with the new street, there is a problem with speed on that street. And there must be, because December 12th of 2023, I came to the commission and there was a speed sign hooked to near the railroad on Iowa Street. So, and this summer, they just removed the same sign from the same location. So I'm thinking that sign wouldn't be there if there wasn't a speed problem on Iowa Street. Another indication of speed on Iowa Street, when people come off Smith Road and they hit that curve on Iowa, they have to brake before they can go around the curve. So, I mean, I live on that street and there's kids that play on that street. My grandkids walk down the sidewalks and they ride their bikes. And I think there should be some patrolling on that street. I requested a FOIA from the city police from January 1st, 2020 to April 1st of 2024. And there have been no speeding tickets issued in 4 years on that street. There were 6 citations. There was 1 no proof of insurance. Second one was driver refused the PBT. Third was disobey a stop sign. Fourth was defective equipment. Fifth was no insurance. Sixth was no insurance. So there were no speeding tickets issued on Iowa Street in the 4 years that FOIA request was requested. I did get a comment from a city official that we do not put 25-mile-per-hour signs on city streets. Well, there is a 25-mile-per-hour sign on Mechanic, on Center, on Fairlane, on Smith, on Superior, on Pine, on Washington, and on Gulfside, which is a dead end. There's a 25-mile-per-hour speed limit sign on a dead-end street in Alma, but they can't put one on Iowa. Iowa is a street, one of the 3 streets that have, from Smith Road to Wright Avenue, that people use as a through street. Warwick and Superior have 25-mile-per-hour signs, but Iowa does not. I would greatly appreciate if there could be some patrolling on Iowa Street. I think if a few tickets were issued, it would slow people down as they're coming from Smith to Iowa, or from Smith to Wright Avenue, or from Wright Avenue to Smith. I appreciate your time and would like to have this addressed in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And who would like to be next to address the commission?
Good evening. Les Rodan, 889 Mill Street here in the city of Alma. James Earl, Darth Vader. Jones just died. I found out he was actually in the Field of Dreams. And he said, you know, the bottom line, if you build it, they shall come. Well, you did, I was at one of the previous meetings where the discussion about the pickleball courts or putting pickleball courts over at Holiday Park across from the cemetery. And there was 2 courts there. There was a tennis court apparently and a basketball court. The one was degraded to the point that couldn't be fixed. But you did put in 2 pickleball courts. And I've had a lot of positive responses. My wife is a pickleball player. She's here today. What they don't have are some of the amenities that a regular pickleball court would have. There's really no place to sit. There's a picnic table that's kind of off kilter, and that's it. You got to bring your own chairs. There's no nets. If you had nets up, they would probably be vandalized. It's a basketball court, pickleball court, so you can't really have permanent nets. But they have no place to store the nets, and I understand that Dan Gibson has been in contact with Dave, reference building some sort of a box where they can have a combination lock or some way to secure it so it's restricted to maybe like 5 people, and then we could get back and forth. Then they wouldn't have to drag privately owned nets to the courts and then get them back to the owner. So I don't think they have an objection to having temporary nets, but they would not like, would like to not have to move them as part of that process. There, and I know this is probably a cost prohibitive, but there's no restroom facility and there's no water, is there? Well, there. So you have an athletic facility over there with no water and no restroom facilities and nothing in that whole park, I don't think. Is there? Okay. So I think that's something maybe that, Dave, are you the contact on this or is it Parks?
I'm still looking, I'm the contact for it.
So anybody, I could give them your name, set up something with you. There's some other things maybe that over there that other people that play pickleball would be more able to delineate than I can. But it's tremendously improvement over the high school courts because they don't have the dead spots in them, and they're new and they look nice. The only comment I heard that was negative is, what about that court? You know, they said, well, apparently it's cost prohibitive to do anything with that one. So they're happy with what they have for now. And I've got pictures here that I took, hard copies, but I put everything on an SD card. I don't know if anybody would have use to have them maybe on a website or recreation department. I think it's a positive thing.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Daniel would like to be next.
Sir. Thank you. Well, good evening, everybody. Thanks for hearing me today. My name is Mike Smith. My wife is here, and we both live on 201 Grafton Avenue. We have not been full-time Alma residents for our whole life. We moved here November 2021, and shortly after I'm going to butcher the name again, but what's going on with the road improvements, we've seen that on the ballot. And that was the first time that we had seen that, and very strongly, I guess, disapproved. But with that, we didn't know where they were going, which roads were on the list to be improved. And I think to speak to the SCD number 5, I think what you guys are proposing, what Dave's proposing to really just upgrade the sewers and the water lines, fantastic. I know our house was redone entirely, including that, at least up to the road. And we've had it scoped and all that, so we've seen the benefits of having new updated things as far as that goes. But my concern is the road and the widening of it. We do have a nice sized berm that goes right down to the road, and unlike Grafton, where we have property, sidewalk, and then there's the property owned by the government that I don't mow, and then we have the road. It's not like that on Austin and Pine. That's just everybody's yards. So when we're talking about widening the road, I'm thinking I'm losing square footage in my yard. So what does that mean when we're talking about market value when we go to resell or someone else wants to come buy it? And then also, most of the residents, if not all the residents on Austin and South River, we all have concrete driveways that are connecting to the road already. So as much as we appreciate having concrete, we already have it. And specifically, my driveway is a 2-car driveway leading up to our garage. And there's an additional 2, it kind of jets out, and really you can park 4 cars there. And it's got a nice wall built around it, so it's buildable if we wanted to build an addition on our garage. So I hear what you're saying. In one ear and the other ear, I'm thinking this was a very expensive driveway to pour. I'm going to lose yardage in my lot, so that I don't agree with. So maybe to leave in conclusion today, if I can just maybe throw it out there to maybe reconsider widening the road on Austin and South River, and again to harp on the traffic in Hillcrest. Previously, it wasn't that bad last year. For whatever reason this year, the schools decided that they're going to make Grafton leading into Austin and the South River the pickup zone for everybody. So it is extremely difficult. My wife and I are camping quite a bit. We can't even pull our camper out of the driveway. But anyway, thank you very much for your time today. Appreciate all you guys' comments, and Dave, thank you for the knowledge with the SAD projects. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Would anybody else care to address commission tonight? Last chance. Okay, not hearing anyone. And Eric, I would like it if you could maybe address some of these comments to us, or do some research and get back to us. We'll have a little more conversation on these things. If you could do that, please.
We do.
Okay. For our benefit, let's see. Next, we are to consider a request from the city manager to conduct a closed session, which is permitted under Section 8E of the Open Meetings Act, MCL 15.268, which is to consult with the city attorney regarding pending litigation with the City of Elma versus Summerex and the City of Elma versus Richards regarding settlement strategy, because discussion in open session would have an adverse effect on the City of Elma's financial position. A 2/3 roll call of vote of the members is required for to call the closed session. And I believe we do not anticipate taking any additional official action when we leave for closed session and come back out to finalize our meeting. So, I mean, you're more than welcome to wait around, but we won't be taking any action and doing anything, so you don't feel like you're gonna miss anything if you don't. Again, you're more than welcome to stay. We'll come out of closed session and close our meeting, would be the expectation. So with that, we'd entertain a motion to go into closed session this evening.
So moved.
Anybody so inclined?
Support.
We have a motion and support, and we need a roll call vote, I believe.
Thank you. Commissioner Barrett?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Harrington?
Yes.
Commissioner Harrison?
Yes.
Commissioner Pitts?
Yes.
Commissioner Warnick?
Yes.
Commissioner Allman?
Yes.
Mayor Mapes?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Motion is carried, and we'll adjourn to our closed session, and we will come out of closed session and officially end this meeting. But again, no action is expected.
Thank you all.
Yeah, the only mistake.
Okay.
Move to adjourn.
We have a motion.
Support.
We have support. Comments or questions? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, no. Motion is carried. We adjourn. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, bye, Dan.